What if I told you that in just 7 days, a simple oil you probably already have at home could bring new life to the one part of your body most men over 60 silently worry about, but rarely talk about? Yes, I'm talking about below the belt. And no, this isn't about pills, injections, or surgery. It's about restoring what time and tension have quietly taken away: your blood flow, your sensitivity, your confidence as a man. I'm Dr. Mohit Kara, a urologist and professor specializing in men's health for over 3 decades. I've worked with thousands of men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s, helping them reclaim the strength and performance they thought were gone for good. What I'm about to share with you is backed by clinical insight and personal experience, not hype. And yet, very few doctors will ever mention it. Here's the part that will surprise you. One of the most overlooked solutions for aging, underperforming male tissue isn't found in a prescription pad. It's found in nature, applied topically. And when used correctly, it has the power to awaken circulation, restore nerve response, and make your most private area feel strong, warm, and alive again. This one daily habit may change how you feel about your body, starting this week. In the next few minutes, I'll walk you through the exact oil to use, how to apply it, what changes to expect day by day, and 3 easy ways to multiply its benefits. If you've been feeling a little less like yourself lately, stay with me. What you're about to learn might just change everything. Before we dive in, if you haven't subscribed yet, now's the perfect time. Tap that button and turn on the bell so you never miss another men's health tip designed specifically for men over 60. And if this video speaks to you, even just a little, type 1 in the comments. If it doesn't, type 0 and let me know how I can better support you on your journey. Let's start with the real reason so many men over 60 begin to feel disconnected from their bodies, especially below the belt. It's not just aging, and it's not your fault. The truth lies deeper, in something most doctors rarely explain: a slow but steady decline in circulation, sensitivity, and cellular vitality in the very area that defines so much of our identity as men. 1. Why most men over 60 struggle. Down there. I see it all the time, men in their 60s and beyond sitting in my office, quietly frustrated, sometimes even ashamed. They're not the same men they used to be, not physically, not intimately. They don't always say it out loud, but I can hear it in their voice and see it in their posture. The spark feels gone. Their body doesn't respond the way it once did, and they've convinced themselves this is just how aging works. But let me be very clear, it's not that simple. What's happening down there isn't some mysterious curse that comes with age. It's a slow, biological shift. As we get older, the blood vessels in the lower pelvic region, the arteries and capillaries that feed oxygen-rich blood to the penis and surrounding tissues, start to narrow and stiffen. The flexibility those vessels once had to expand and flood the area with blood during arousal, that slowly fades. Without that steady blood flow, you lose not just function, but also feeling. Your sensitivity dulls. You stop getting spontaneous erections. The morning stiffness you once took for granted becomes rare or disappears altogether. On top of that, nerve endings that once lit up with the slightest touch now need more and more stimulation to respond. And here's the part no one talks about. With less blood flow and lower nerve response, your brain starts disconnecting from your body in that region. It doesn't feel like yours anymore. For many men, that sense of identity, the quiet confidence that comes from being physically alive, is what slips away first. And it hurts. Not just in the bedroom, but in the mirror, in your marriage, in your mindset. Now, I'll tell you something personal. My own father, a proud, strong man who spent his life working hard with his hands, once told me in a quiet moment, "Son, it's like part of me just stopped waking up. I feel like I'm fading." And that stuck with me, not because it was tragic, but because it was preventable. He didn't need a miracle. He needed circulation, stimulation, and restoration. And when we gave that to him, when we activated his body the right way, he came back to life, not just below the belt, but in spirit. This decline isn't about age, it's about attention. The male body still wants to respond. It's waiting for the right signal. And as you'll soon see, that signal doesn't have to come from a pill. It can come from something far more natural, more ancient, and more powerful than most men realize. In fact, it might already be sitting in your kitchen cabinet, waiting for you to rediscover it. So now the question becomes, what is this forgotten remedy? And how can it restore the energy and response you once had? Let me show you. 2. The forgotten oil that revives blood flow below the belt. I'll never forget the day I introduced this oil to one of my longtime patients, Gerald, a 72-year-old Vietnam veteran. He had that quiet toughness about him, stoic, proud, never one to complain. But that day, he finally looked me in the eye and said, "Doc, I don't feel like a man anymore." That hit me hard. Not because it surprised me, I'd heard it before, but because I knew he still had life in him. He just needed the right way to bring it back. When I told him that a simple, natural oil could help restore sensation, blood flow, and even his confidence, without medication, he raised an eyebrow. "Oil?" he said. "You mean something I rub on, like lotion?" I nodded. "Exactly, but not just any oil, this one's special." What I handed him was rosemary essential oil, diluted with almond oil. And what happened next, over the course of a week, was nothing short of remarkable. Most people think of rosemary as just a kitchen herb. But for centuries, it's been used by traditional healers across the Mediterranean not just for flavor, but for circulation, inflammation, and muscle recovery. The science is finally catching up to what ancient cultures already knew. Rosemary oil contains rosmarinic acid, which helps relax and expand blood vessels. That means more oxygen-rich blood reaching the tissue below the belt. It also has carnosol and cineolu, natural compounds that reduce inflammation and enhance nerve response, and that's exactly what aging male tissue needs. When applied to the lower pelvic area, the pubic bone, groin, and base of the penis, rosemary oil does something many men haven't felt in years. It brings warmth. Not a burning heat, but a gentle activation, like your body is waking up. That's exactly what Gerald described to me. "It was like there was electricity under my skin again," he told me. "Not painful, just alive." He wasn't imagining it. The oil was stimulating peripheral circulation and gently coaxing his nerves to respond again. But beyond the biology, there's something else this oil does that we can't measure with numbers. It gives men a sense of control again. You're not just waiting for a pill to work or hoping for a better night. You're actively caring for yourself, intentionally reconnecting with a part of your body that deserves attention. Not shame, not silence, but respect. It becomes more than just a physical routine. It becomes a quiet ritual. And for men like Gerald, that ritual becomes the turning point. So, now you know the oil, but what about the exact method? Because how you apply it makes all the difference. Gentle mistakes in timing, technique, or area can mean the difference between small results and a full transformation. Up next, I'll walk you through the precise step-by-step method my patients use daily and how you can do the same, starting tonight. 3. Step-by-step, how to apply it safely and effectively. One of the biggest misconceptions I see among men trying natural remedies is that they treat it like a task, something to get over with fast. But your body doesn't respond to rushing, especially not after 60. What it responds to is intention, gentle care, a sense of presence. And when it comes to using rosemary oil to restore blood flow below the belt, the way you apply it is just as important as the oil itself. Let me walk you through what I've taught dozens of my patients, and even my own father. First, you need to prepare the oil correctly. Essential oils are powerful. That's why they must be diluted in a carrier oil like sweet almond, coconut, or jojoba oil. The rule of thumb is simple: 3 to 5 drops of rosemary oil per tablespoon of carrier oil. Mix it gently in your palm until it feels warm, not hot. That warmth signals your body that something healing is coming. The next step is where most men rush, but where the magic really begins. Make sure your skin is clean and dry. After a warm shower is ideal, because your pores are open and your muscles are relaxed. Stand or sit comfortably and begin at the base of your abdomen, just above the pubic bone. Use your fingertips to slowly massage the oil into your skin in small circular motions. You're not trying to press hard. This isn't about force, it's about rhythm. Move outward toward your inner thighs, gently covering the groin area and around the base of the penis. You don't need to apply it directly to the shaft unless you choose to, but even massaging around it can bring renewed blood flow and sensation. Breathe as you do this, in through your nose, out through your mouth. Feel the warmth spread beneath your hands. For many men, this is the first time in years they've intentionally connected with this part of their body, not for function or frustration, but for healing. That's powerful. That's where the shift begins. You can do this once a day to start, preferably in the evening. Some men do it twice, morning and night, especially in the first week. Each session should take 5 to 7 minutes. Not long, but enough to tell your body, I'm here, I'm listening, I care. One of my patients, Frank, told me after just 3 days of doing this, he felt something stir inside, not just physically, but emotionally. He said, I didn't know how much I'd missed this kind of attention. It reminded me that I'm still a man. And he was right. This isn't just massage, it's a message to your body, to your nervous system, to your masculinity. And the results? They speak for themselves. But what exactly should you expect over the next 7 days? That's where it gets exciting. Because if you do this the right way, day by day, changes start to unfold, and they're more powerful than most men imagine. Let me show you what's possible, one day at a time. 4. What to expect. Day-by-day progress over 7 days. Most men are skeptical when I say that noticeable results can start within just 7 days. I get it. After years, sometimes decades, of decline, it's hard to believe that something as simple as a daily oil ritual could start to bring your body back online. But I've seen it happen. Not once, not twice, but over and over again. And when men stick with it, even just for a week, something changes. Not just below the belt, but in the way they carry themselves, the way they feel about their own body again. The first day is often more emotional than physical. You may not feel a huge shift in sensation or performance yet, but that time you spend applying the oil, massaging gently, breathing deeply, it reawakens a connection you may have ignored for years. One man told me after his first session, it wasn't the oil. It was realizing I'd stopped touching myself in a way that felt respectful, like I mattered. That moment of care is where healing begins. By day 2 or 3, you might begin to notice a soft warmth in the area, a subtle buzz or tingling sensation, especially in the morning. That's blood flow returning. That's your body remembering how to respond. It may feel minor at first, but it's real. The tissues are being nourished again. Your nerve endings are waking up. Around day 4 or 5, men often report a change in sensitivity. It becomes easier to get aroused. Erections may come more naturally without needing constant mental stimulation. You might notice a return of morning wood or feel less numb during touch, and with that, confidence begins to quietly rebuild. By day 6, something deeper sets in, not just physically, but emotionally. Men stand taller. They feel more grounded. They look in the mirror and don't see just aging. They see possibility. That's when partners start to notice too. Not always because of sex itself, but because of the energy you're giving off. You're present again, and that energy is magnetic. Day 7 is what I call the mirror moment. You'll catch yourself noticing that the area feels warmer, fuller, more responsive, and you'll realize it's not just about the oil, it's about what it symbolized: attention, intention, and restoration. One man, age 74, said, "I thought that part of me was dead, but now it feels like mine again." And that's only the beginning. 7 days opens the door, but what if you could go further? What if you could amplify these results, strengthen them, and make them last with just a few more natural tools? Because while rosemary oil is powerful, there are 3 more oils I often recommend that work even better when used together. Let me introduce you to the perfect trio that takes your results to the next level. 5. Real patient story. William, 68. William was one of those men you instantly respected. A retired engineer from Ohio, broad-shouldered, steady voice, the kind of guy who built his life on logic, structure, and doing things the right way. He came to me one afternoon with a quiet heaviness in his eyes. He didn't complain, he didn't need to. After 20 minutes of small talk, he leaned in and said, "Doc, I still love my wife. I still feel desire, but my body, it doesn't follow anymore." That sentence stayed with me. There was no bitterness in his tone, just quiet defeat. I asked him a few simple questions. When did you last feel strong in your body? When was the last time you woke up with an erection? When was the last time intimacy didn't feel like pressure, but connection? He paused. "Years," he said. "It's been years." William was skeptical when I told him about rosemary oil. Like many men his age, he had tried the usual options: blue pills, supplements, even testosterone creams. But they either didn't work or made him feel off. The idea of using an oil, something natural, gentle, almost ritualistic, felt foreign to him. But I told him what I'll tell you. Sometimes the most powerful healing isn't loud. It's subtle, steady, and rooted in care. He followed my instructions. Just 5 to 7 minutes each night after a warm shower. No distractions, just the oil, his hands, and a quiet room. At first, he said it felt silly, like he was just going through the motions, but by day 4, he noticed something. He was waking up before his alarm. Not from discomfort, but from a quiet buzz of energy in his pelvis. It wasn't arousal exactly, it was aliveness, warmth, flow. By day 6, he told me he stood in the mirror and looked at himself differently. "Doc," he said, "I saw a man again." That struck me deeply. We think male health is all about performance, but it's really about presence, the ability to feel connected to your own body, to know that something inside you still works, still responds, still matters. On day 7, he held his wife's hand on their morning walk and felt something shift, not just in him, but between them. He didn't say anything. He didn't need to. She noticed the energy, the confidence, that quiet power of a man who had returned to himself. William's story isn't rare, it's just rarely told. Because most men don't think a story like that is possible for them, but it is. And if you're wondering how to take these results even further, how to enhance what you've started and build momentum, then you'll want to hear about the 3 oils I've seen work wonders when combined with rosemary. They're natural, accessible, and incredibly powerful. Let's explore them next. 6. Bonus: 3 oils you can combine for even better results. While rosemary oil on its own is a powerful ally, I often remind my patients that nature rarely works in isolation. Just like our bodies, plants work best in synergy. Over the years, I've seen even greater results when men combine rosemary with a few other time-tested oils, each one offering its own unique support for circulation, arousal, and overall male vitality. These aren't exotic or hard to find. They're simple, natural, and when used correctly, they can help take your progress to a whole new level. The first is ginger oil. Yes, the same root you might use in cooking is also a potent topical stimulator. Ginger increases local blood flow by warming the tissues and expanding the vessels. It has that subtle heat that wakes up cold, underactive areas without being overwhelming. When blended with rosemary, ginger adds a dynamic edge. One of my patients, Martin, age 71, called it his spark plug blend. He said it gave his body a boost that made him feel 10 years younger. The second oil is lavender. Now, I know what some men think. Lavender is for sleep or stress, not manhood. But let me tell you something I've learned as a doctor. Tension is one of the most overlooked enemies of male performance. If your pelvic floor, your lower back, or your inner thighs are holding on to stress, it affects blood flow, arousal, and even sensitivity. Lavender oil works not just on the muscles, but on the nervous system. It helps you relax, physically and mentally. And when the body feels safe, it responds. The third oil is one I've come to deeply respect: black seed oil. Known for centuries in Middle Eastern medicine, black seed is rich in antioxidants and compounds that support hormonal balance, reduce inflammation, and even help maintain healthy testosterone levels. Applied topically in a blend, it adds nourishment and deeper healing to the tissue. It's subtle, but powerful. I usually recommend blending 3 drops of rosemary, 2 drops of ginger, and 1 drop of lavender or black seed oil into 1 tablespoon of a carrier oil like almond or coconut. Mix gently, warm in your palms, and apply using the same slow, circular massage technique we discussed earlier. Each oil brings something different to the table, and together, they create a fuller, more rounded response. What I love most about these blends is that they allow you to listen to your body. Some days, you need more energy. Other days, more calm. Some days, deeper recovery. And you can adjust accordingly. That's the beauty of working with nature. You're not forcing results. You're inviting them. But even the best oils can only do so much if your daily habits are working against them. That's why the men who see the most lasting change are the ones who pair this with a few simple lifestyle shifts. And no, I'm not talking about diets or gym memberships, just 3 or 4 easy changes anyone can do, starting today. Let me show you how to make this stick. 7. The number 1 mistake most men over 60 make. This is the part that's hardest to say, but it needs to be said. The biggest mistake I see men over 60 make isn't physical, it's emotional. It's the quiet decision to give up on themselves, not in a dramatic way. Not all at once, but slowly, day by day, they begin to accept a version of life that feels smaller, more limited, less connected. They convince themselves that what they're feeling, or not feeling, is just part of getting older, that their best years are behind them, that intimacy, confidence, and strength are things for younger men. But here's the truth. That belief is more damaging than any diagnosis. Because the moment you stop caring for yourself, especially below the belt, you begin to disconnect from the very energy that makes you feel alive. And I've seen it happen over and over again. Men stop looking in the mirror. They stop reaching out to their partners. They stop expecting anything better from their bodies. And that quiet resignation, it steals more than just function. It steals joy. One of my patients, Arthur, told me something that broke my heart. He said, "I just didn't think I deserved to feel like a man anymore." And I told him what I'll tell you now. You do. You always have. You don't have to settle for decline. Your body is still listening. It's just waiting for you to speak to it again. You see, most men focus on fixing the problem at the surface. They want faster erections, more sensation, more stamina, and that's fine. But they forget the foundation. Circulation, nerve response, hormonal balance, presence. Those are the building blocks, and they're still within reach, but only if you're willing to shift from resignation to restoration. That's why this simple oil routine isn't just about results. It's about reclaiming something deeper. The sense that your body is worth tending to. That pleasure is still yours to have. That feeling good in your skin isn't something you have to apologize for. It's something you deserve. The mistake isn't in growing older. The mistake is believing that growing older means giving up on growth, and I promise you, it doesn't. You can age and still awaken. You can slow down and still rise, but only if you show up, not once, not for a week, but with steady, quiet commitment. Now, if you're ready to move from a short-term experiment to a lasting, lifelong habit, the next step is key. Because real change doesn't come from what you do once, it comes from what you repeat. Let me show you how to turn this new connection with your body into a daily rhythm that fits easily into your life and lasts for years to come. 8. How to make this a lifelong ritual. When I first introduced this oil routine to my patients, most of them treated it like an experiment, something they'd try for a week or two just to see what happens. And that's fine. We all need to start somewhere. But what I didn't expect was how many of them came back weeks later, not just for a follow-up, but with a new energy in their voice. They didn't just want results anymore. They wanted rhythm. They wanted this to be part of their life. Because the truth is, healing isn't just about what you do once. It's about what you do consistently, with care. And for men over 60, building this into a daily or weekly ritual isn't just helpful, it's powerful. The body responds to patterns. And when you give it the same message every day, you still matter, the body begins to believe it. Not just through performance, but through presence, strength, and sensation. So how do you make it last? You start simple. Pair the oil massage with something you already do, like brushing your teeth at night or taking your morning shower. Keep the oil in a visible place, not tucked away in a drawer. Make it part of your space. Then, give yourself just 5 to 10 minutes. You don't need candles or music or anything elaborate, just your hands, your breath, and your willingness to reconnect. Some of my patients like to begin with a brief walk, 5 or 10 minutes outside, just enough to get blood moving. Others add in light movement, rising onto their toes, gently rotating their hips, stretching their thighs. It's not exercise, it's activation. Then the oil. Warm it in your palms. Breathe it in. Let your touch be firm but kind. You're not rushing, you're listening. This is your time. And here's the part that matters most: consistency. Some days you'll feel more, some days less. But every time you show up, you're telling your body, I'm here, I'm not going away. And over time, that message sinks deep. It becomes less about trying and more about being. A quiet return to something you thought was gone. James, a 66-year-old former truck driver, said it best. This isn't a routine anymore. It's part of me, like drinking my morning coffee or kissing my wife goodnight. It just belongs. That's the kind of shift we're after. Not just improvement, but integration. Because once your body starts remembering how it's supposed to feel, the next question becomes, how far can this go? Because believe it or not, what we've covered so far is just the beginning. There's still one more truth you need to hear, one that might change the way you look at your body, your past, and your future as a man. Let's talk about that now. 9. A final word to men over 60. There's something I've come to believe deeply after working with thousands of men over the past 3 decades. It's this: just because a part of your body has been quiet for a while doesn't mean it's gone. It may be sleeping, it may be waiting, but it's not gone, and you are not broken. Too many men cross 60 and begin to feel like they're fading from their own lives, not because they've lost their strength or their minds, but because they've lost their connection to their body, their sense of self, their place in the world as a man. I've had patients tell me they feel invisible, even in their own homes, not needed, not desired, not alive in the way they once were. And my answer is always the same: you are still here, and your body still listens, even if it's been quiet for a while. The oil, the massage, the rhythm, all of that matters, but underneath it all is something even more powerful: attention. When you give attention to a part of yourself, it responds. It doesn't matter how long it's been neglected. The body remembers. Your hands, your breath, your presence. It tells your nervous system, your circulation, your spirit, you matter.